In this video, I'm going to tackle a really challenging question that was asked in a variety of ways. The question I'll address is, what EdTech tools do you recommend to help high school students who are virtual all year to increase social connection and engagement and feel like they are part of a community? I'm going to just answer one angle of this question. Again, this is an impossibly difficult year with so many things to consider. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what worked in my online AP Calculus AB class. Please keep in mind that I'm not trying to say that my online class or my online teaching experience is at all the same as this year that we're in. My students chose to take online AP Calculus. I structured the course as a purely online course, but I do want to share some of the things that worked for community in my online teaching. That was one of the most important things that I prioritized in thinking about how I was going to structure the class. And I just want to share one thing that was the best thing that I decided to do was weekly, I had a component where students needed to lead a small group Zoom session with 2 or 3 other classmates, and that was completely student-led. They got onto a Zoom and they recorded it for 30 minutes. And their task for that time was to just do the assignments that they had to do anyway. It wasn't an additional assignment. They just had to work collaboratively with some of the people in their class. The biggest point was that I wanted to hear them working. I wanted to see them and hear them interact with their classmates. I did not join these sessions, but I did watch them afterwards. So I'm going to just show you a little piece of my book, Tech with Heart, where I explain this. So as I said, collaboration is an important part of the learning process. So my goal was to make sure students understood that our online class format was not about working in isolation, because there's so much power in them working together, that peer-to-peer learning. I really wanted to preserve that. So my solution was for students in my purely online section to record small group video chats. And I wasn't sure how that was going to work initially, but I was modeling that through my weekly synchronous Zoom session. Once a week, we would get on a Zoom and work together. And so I had an agenda, and suddenly I saw students in their small group sessions had an agenda, and they would pick one person to lead that. I made them cycle who was recording and submitting, and I think that really helped because the person who was recording and submitting tended to be the person who came with the agenda. And again, this was AP Calculus, so these students had a level of leadership already, and they were choosing to take this online class. But it was so interesting to see them work together and also to hear where they were fumbling and where there was hesitation and where I needed to jump in and clarify any mistakes or misconceptions that they had. So as I said, discussion boards and instant messaging are awesome, but there is something about hearing my students talk that really helps me feel more connected to them as individuals. And just seeing them chat about math was amazing. It was so funny that even though they were recording and submitting it to me, they were so open in talking to their classmates as they would kind of, when you overhear conversations in the classroom, I was able to see and hear that in these small group Zoom sessions, whereas that did not come out in our big class Zoom session. They were very quiet on that, which I know we've all experienced this year. And so again, collaboration is just the name of the game there, seeing them work together. It wasn't an additional assignment. It was just allowing them to work with their classmates once a week through something that they wanted to do together. A lot of times they would do their quiz review together so that they could brainstorm and learn from one another. An additional component of my class that was very important was that I had a Slack channel, and that was for like direct messaging and it was like a group text message. But my students were all older and I could use Slack because you have to be 16 or over in order to use Slack. So Slack is not a solution for all classes. It was a great solution in my online teaching, but I'm just going to mention that that was another important component. The final thing that I want to say in terms of fostering community, I think Flipgrid is a really great tool there too, because you can have these asynchronous conversations and every single student has a chance to really contribute and share their voice in a way that's most comfortable to them, instead of like on a Zoom when everybody's on at the same time and they're trying to talk over one another or they're drowning one another out, because when two people try and speak at the same time, it drowns one of the voices out. Flipgrid is a really nice way to see what everybody in the class is saying, and you can even set up Flipgrids that are beyond just your class. So you could mix and mingle your different blocks together, which can be helpful in the virtual world to expand beyond just the small block of students that you have. And you can even set up collaborations with other teachers at your school or even beyond your school. And I'm gonna make another video response where I talk more about that peer-to-peer learning beyond the walls of your classroom using Flipgrid, because that's something else that I've done. But I'm gonna close this video with that thought, and in the next video, I'll dive into that peer-to-peer learning topic with Flipgrid that I just talked about. So stay tuned for that. I hope that this answer was helpful. And please, again, I want to share that when I talk about what worked in my online teaching, I perfectly well realize that that is not synonymous with the situation that we're in this year in any way. There's so much emotionally for us and our students, and I don't want to dismiss that in any way. So when I wrote my book, I was writing all of this pre-pandemic. I just want to make sure that that's clear in my little video response to you all as you're listening to it. Okay, that's all for now. Bye.